HelloFresh takes the guesswork and the extra hassle out of planning and preparing delicious meals for dinner. America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh gives you over 40 recipes to choose from each week. And then your farm-fresh, pre-portioned seasonal ingredients arrive at your doorstep with simple instructions to help you feel like the master chef of your kitchen. And did you know that HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% less expensive than takeout? HelloFresh has been an awesome addition to our household's dinner routine. We all get involved and cook together, following the pictured step-by-step instructions. It's a fun quality time and the meals are delicious. Give it a try and see for yourself. Go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, to get 50% off plus free shipping, go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall.
When you earn your degree online at Arizona State University, you get everything the nation's most innovative university has to offer. The same internationally recognized faculty, the same nationally ranked programs, the same degree. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
Welcome to the Having It All podcast, the show about what it takes to live an abundant, loving life. My name is Matthew Bivens, and each week I'm helping you get out of your head so that you can truly have it all. Let's do it. What's up, you beautiful soul, you? My name is Matthew Bivens, and welcome to the Having It All podcast. This is where we have conversations about what it truly looks like and feels like to live an abundant and loving life. I love these conversations because this is what it's all about. This is why I wake up each day, why I get out of bed, why I do what I do, so that we can talk about what it looks like to be self-actualized, what it looks like to live into the greatest version of yourself, what it looks like to be truly peaceful and happy and big S successful. That big S success is so important because so often we're chasing that little s success. The little s looks like the money and the cars and the houses and the vacation homes and all the things that are external to us, while the big S success is who we are becoming in the process. And if you're tuning in right now, if you're here with me, it's because you want to be abundant and loving in all areas of your life. And I freaking love that. So, welcome to the podcast. If this is your first time joining us, then thank you. Thanks for taking a risk. I love it. I always say that too, taking a risk, because whenever you invest your time into something, this time you don't get back. You're not going to get these next 30 or 45 minutes back, and yet you are risking it. You're putting it on the line, and I appreciate that. And if you've listened before and you have come back again, well, that is freaking awesome too. And I'm super grateful that you would continue to support the show and the mission. If you can't tell, I'm pretty amped right now. I don't always come out the gate at this high level. Like, I feel like I'm at like a 9, and I'm sure by the end of this, I'm going to be well past 10. That tends to happen. I'll build up as the episode goes on because I'm like, oh, I'm getting so into this stuff. Today is a cool conversation. I'm definitely inspired by today's conversation. I was actually inspired by something I saw on Instagram, and I'm bringing that to you today. And quick peek behind the curtains of the Having It All podcast. I have a whole list of topics that I want to cover. And oftentimes when I add a new topic to that list, I'm super fired up about it. I'm like, oh man, this is going to be dope. I'm going to talk about blah, blah, blah. Everyone's going to love it. And then when I revisit that list or that topic the next day or maybe a week later or a month later, like I'm not feeling the fire as I was before. And so I've got dozens and dozens of ideas that I was amped up about at the time, but when I go back, I just don't really feel it. And that happens a lot, for me at least, when I'm creating content. Sometimes I'm really into the message, and then if I wait too long, that fire, that excitement tends to go away. So today I'm bringing you something that's fresh, and I love talking about things that are fresh, whether it's one of you all reaching out to me and asking a question or asking me to talk about a certain topic, and that's fresh, I dig it. or if it's something that's going on in my life or something that I've stumbled across that's super fresh, I love that as well. And I think that's where the best of me comes out. So I'm excited to get into this conversation today. First, we're gonna switch things up a bit. Normally now I segue into magic, but I want to segue into listener love first. And today's listener love, because I love to show appreciation to you, because you all are amazing, so amazing, and the show wouldn't be anywhere without you, honestly. So today's listener love comes from Hannah, who connected with me on Instagram. Hannah, I appreciate you. I appreciate you because you're a new listener, as you shared with me, and yet even then, you felt inspired to carve out some time to not just connect with me on Instagram, but message me, to DM me, and that was so cool. So I appreciate the love, Hannah, and I really love that the podcast has helped you with your self-confidence. Man, for me, self-confidence has been such an area of opportunity. I'll just say that. And so, Hannah, if you're like me, then, as your self-confidence has gone up, you've probably experienced many doors open up for you in life. Because as you feel more confident with your abilities, with your intelligence, with your resourcefulness, with whatever it is, then you feel like you can do more. You feel like taking some bigger risks. You feel like addressing some of those things that have been challenges. And life really becomes fun when you start feeling yourself in that way. So, Hannah, I love the fact that your confidence is going up and that you are tuning into the show and reaching out to me. So, Hannah, thank you, thank you, thank you. If anybody else wants to reach out with me on Instagram, please do. My handle or name or whatever it's called is it's Matthew_Bivens. And I read every single message that you all send to me, and I answer every single message. That's been a commitment of mine since day one. And that goes for Instagram, that goes for Facebook, although I don't really do much on Facebook. It goes for email. So if you are reaching out to me, if you're investing that time to connect with me, then I am not only reading it, but I'm taking the time to connect back with you. And that's going to continue to be my promise. I love that. So reach out with me, connect. I love when we get to expand these conversations and really get into a conversation, because sometimes it just feels like I'm talking into a mic. But when I get to connect with you all on Instagram, then we can jump into a real conversation and we can go back and forth, which is some of my favorite stuff. So, all right, now I want to go into magic. Actually, I need to adjust my equipment first. And by that, I mean adjust my monitor, because that could have been taken in a lot of different directions. I see that now. It's too funny. HelloFresh takes the guesswork and the extra hassle out of planning and preparing delicious meals for dinner. America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh gives you over 40 recipes to choose from each week. And then your farm-fresh, pre-portioned seasonal ingredients arrive at your doorstep with simple instructions to help you feel like the master chef of your kitchen. And did you know that HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% less expensive than takeout? HelloFresh has been an awesome addition to our household's dinner routine. We all get involved and cook together, following the pictured step-by-step instructions. It's a fun quality time, and the meals are delicious. Give it a try and see for yourself. Go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, to get 50% off plus free shipping, go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
All right, so my magic is... Well, let me tell you what magic is, actually. Magic is your ability to influence self, others, or life in an empowering way. And you are creating magic all the time because you are a powerful person. However, you may not be very aware of the magic you're creating. And so I share magic on the top of every episode because I want you to grow that awareness at just how powerful you are. I want you to recognize that you are creating these amazing moments for yourself, for others, and in life in general all the time. And the more that you recognize that, the more you realize, damn, okay, I have the ability to influence my life. I have the ability to influence myself. I have the ability to influence others. You start to look at, well, where am I influencing self, others in life? And you start to become more intentional with influencing those things in the direction that you want to go to create those magical moments. So that's why I talk about it on every episode. Today's magic is completing 5 weeks of intentional deposits into myself, into my tank, through the Trust Challenge. So we wrapped the second Trust Challenge this past Sunday. It's Monday the 5th, so it was just yesterday when we wrapped the Trust Challenge. And that concluded 5 weeks of showing up for ourselves. And it was myself along with 100 of you who signed up for the Trust Challenge as well. And it was an incredible, incredible experience. It was super cool. First of all, we added the Facebook group to the mix. We didn't do that the first time around, but this time around we did the Facebook group. And that was so awesome because we all got a chance to interact with one another. We all got a chance to engage with one another, to support one another as we were making those daily deposits. And to be honest, that for me was so huge because the first time we did the challenge, we didn't have any sort of community component where we could actually engage one-on-one. So the accountability was me knowing that you guys were making the deposits at the same time that I was. But this time, I could actually see them. And this time, I committed to jump into that group and to post just about every day myself. So that level of accountability was just insane. And it totally helped. It really was the reason why I stuck with it for 5 weeks. So, my magic is just influencing self because it's not easy to show up for yourself consistently every single day for 5 weeks. It's just not easy. What's easy is to let our emotions get in the way and say, I don't really feel like going for my 2-mile jog today. I don't really feel like meditating today. I don't really feel like reaching out to a loved one today. That's easy. What's tough is waking up early in the morning, strapping on your shoes and getting out the door, right? What's tough is doing whatever the deposit was that you committed to. That's hard because life is going to throw you circumstances. It's always going to throw you circumstances, and then you get an opportunity to choose. So I appreciate everybody who was a part of the Trust Challenge. All 100 of you. You all are freaking amazing. It's incredible, and I learned a couple things about myself. I learned that if I take a few minutes to just be intentional and be proactive, that's been a theme of the past number of episodes, being proactive. If I just take a few minutes in the morning or the night before just to be proactive, it sets me up to win. Like, it makes such a huge difference in me accomplishing the things that I want to do in a day. And I know that because for the first week of the challenge, I didn't do that. I didn't set myself up beforehand to win. But I started doing that on week 2, week 3, week 4. And the difference was so big. So for example, on the week of social deposits, I wrote down all the people I wanted to connect with socially, and I wrote down what I wanted to affirm them on. I did that at the beginning of the week so that the next 7 days, it was easy for me to see who I was going to connect with the next day and what I was going to say. I set myself up to win. And so I learned that when I do that, life becomes effortless. Life becomes effortless, and that's what I'm playing for. I also learned that when I make one healthy decision, when I make one healthy deposit, it tends to lead into another one. Like, one healthy decision inspires another healthy decision. And actually, it's kind of like a domino effect. Like, they would just keep happening. So if I woke up early in the morning and went for a run, I typically came back and ate a healthy breakfast. Instead of eating the waffles with syrup and eggs and bacon, I might have an oatmeal and a smoothie and some fruit. And then that would lead to me probably jumping into work and getting my big rocks done first, doing that big thing that was on my list as opposed to starting off with the small things that are easy. And so one healthy decision just kept inspiring the next and the next and the next. And I bet you if I look back on these last 5 weeks and I saw how productive I was, compared that to 10 weeks ago, it's probably a huge difference because one healthy decision for me leads to another one. And then last thing I learned about myself was that I've already mentioned it a little bit, but it's just way more fun to live life and to do life, especially when we're doing something fun and healthy and proactive. It's more fun to do that stuff when I'm in a group. When I've got 100 of you by my side doing it with me. It's just way more fun. And I really love being engaged and being in those types of groups. It lights me up. And then when you add in the accountability on being who I say I'm going to be, on completing my goals, on showing up for myself, like the accountability that group supplies, it's just like I feel like I can accomplish anything. So I'm going to remember that as I continue on through the rest of this year, that in the areas where, like in business, I tend to try to do a lot of things by myself. But if I surround myself with a group or even one other person, I can get way further, and I'm going to have a lot more fun. So those are a few things that I learned about myself. And if you didn't sign up for the challenge this go around, it's all gravy, baby. We're going to have another one. I'm going to launch another trust challenge probably at the beginning of the year. So it'll probably be something that you can take advantage of with the new year. If you're setting New Year's resolutions, New Year's goals for yourself, then you definitely want to jump into the trust challenge because making those deposits is going to help make all those other goals feel more effortless for sure. So stay tuned. All right. I've got something I really want. Well, I've been very excited to announce this, and I've waited. I've held off. I first announced this to the Trust Challenge crew, and now I'm opening it up to everybody. But it actually segues nicely from the magic. I have been so inspired by the Trust Challenge group, the group of people who have helped hold me accountable, and it really had me think about when I achieved the biggest leaps in my life in terms of, transforming physically, emotionally, spiritually, in terms of getting through the areas of my life where I felt stuck, in terms of just leveling up my power and my greatness and experiencing my abundant, loving life. Those transformations, all of those movements happened when I was a part of a very focused, very intentional group. And so I'm super, super excited to announce the very first of its kind Abundant Loving Life Accountability Group that I'm going to be kicking off this month, the month of November. And it is open to any and all of you to join me. Now, this is going to be a small group of people. It's going to be 7 of us, including myself. So it's real tight, it's real intimate, and it's all about accountability. It's all about accountability. It's about us holding one another accountable to showing up for ourselves and completing goals. So in this group, we're going to be meeting regularly. We're going to be setting goals for ourselves, others, and life. We're going to be committing to showing up for ourselves at a certain level each day and each week. And we're going to be holding one another accountable to doing that, to hitting those levels, to performing our goals. And we're going to do it in this tight, intimate group of 7 folks. And we're just going to be loving life, playing life, creating abundant, loving lives together. And I could not be more excited. I couldn't be more excited. Now, a couple of seats have already been claimed, so you definitely don't want to wait and sleep on this if it's something that is interesting to you. I haven't done anything like this through the Having It All community before, but in my personal life, I have been a part of an accountability group for over 3 years. And that group has been the catalyst for so much transformation in my life. Being a part of an accountability group for me gave me perspective when I didn't have any. They helped me to get unstuck from some problems that seemed like I would never, ever get past them. They helped me see my greatness and live into my greatness when I was so freaking scared and paralyzed by that fear. And they loved on me in a way that I didn't know people could love on me. And I didn't know what it was like to open myself up in that vulnerable and transparent way. And I really didn't know what magic and what beauty could come from opening myself up like that. And all of those things I learned and experienced by being a part of an accountability group. And that's what I want to bring to you all. So if you're interested, this group is going to be running for 12 weeks. 12 weeks of showing up for ourselves. The cost is $750. $750. I made this thing affordable. Anybody out there, if you are serious about creating shift in your life, you can come up with $750. Whether you've got that money in some area of your budget and you can move it around and make it work, or perhaps you need to go and talk to people in your network, in your community, get them to sponsor you. I've done that before. Here's a quick tangent. I wanted to go to a conference earlier this year, and it just wasn't in my budget. I had been investing, I have a little fund that I use to invest in myself, and that money was already going towards my business coach. So I put it out to my community of people, my tight crew here in Atlanta, and I got 2 people to sponsor me. One person paid for my plane tickets, round trip tickets down to Florida and back. Another person paid for my attendance at the conference for 2 days. So I know that if anybody out there is like, $750, how am I going to come up with that? I know if you get resourceful, you will. You absolutely will. If this type of thing matters for you, then reach out to me. I don't have any fancy sign-up page. I don't have any, landing page or forms or anything. I just want you to email me, Matthew@MatthewBivens.com. That's the email address you can hit me up at, Matthew@MatthewBivens.com, MATTHEW. And let me know if you're interested. Again, there's only going to be 6 slots open. I'm the 7th seat, and some of them are already going, so you definitely don't want to sleep on this. This is going to be a truly, truly amazing experience, and I cannot wait. I can't wait. So hit me up. Once again, Matthew@MatthewBivens.com if you're interested in being a part of the Abundant Loving Life Accountability Group. Yes. All right. I got to take a deep breath. Deep inhale. Okay. Today's episode is pretty cool. Like I said, I was inspired by something that I saw on Instagram earlier today. And I love these types of posts because they're raw. They're very timely. And I also like being able to expose you to other people who are saying and doing super cool things out there in the world. And so today's post is from somebody, you may have already heard of him. I've talked about him before. His name is Lewis Howes, LEWISHOWES. And he's a podcaster. He's an entrepreneur. He's kind of like a life design, life empowerment dude. He puts on workshops and sells out arenas, kind of like a Tony Robbins type guy. And he had this cool Instagram post this morning, which I read it and I'm like, yeah, this is simple, but it's very profound. And I love sharing things with you that are simple yet profound. So on Lewis's House post, he lists, I'll just read it real quick. He says, the quality of your life is directly related to the quality of your thoughts, words, food, sleep, fitness, purpose, environment, and relationships. Ooh, I'll read that again. The quality of your life is directly related to the quality of your thoughts, words, food, sleep, fitness, purpose, environment, and relationships. I love this. I love this because it gives every single one of us an opportunity to do a quick audit. Let's do a real quick audit of ourselves and see, what's the overall quality of my life? Like, that's a pretty big, loaded question, and you could take that answer in so many ways. But when you look at the quality of your thoughts, a lot of us pretty quickly can figure out the overall quality of our thoughts. Are our thoughts loving and supportive and healing? Are they fearful? Are they scarce? Are they judgmental? And we can do that for all of them, our words, our food, our sleep. And so I wanted to go through each of those things and just discuss why they're so important in you being able to say unequivocally, yeah, the quality of my life is badass. It's high, right? Because you are very mindful and intentional of how you're being in each one of those areas. So with thoughts, what's really amazing about our thoughts is that we have about 70,000 thoughts every single day. So for me, thoughts above the rest of this list are the one area that if you want to start somewhere, if you want to prioritize these things, begin with your thoughts, for sure, because they have the greatest impact. You have 70,000 thoughts in a day. Now, I'm a guy who's into fitness and working out. And when I was younger, I played soccer on multiple teams. I played for a club team. I played for my high school team. So I'll be doing 2-a-day practices, right? And that was tough. And I love watching professional sports. And some of these professional athletes, they're working out like 3 times a day. My future brother-in-law was a professional marathon runner, and he shared with me his fitness routine, and it was nuts. It was like, wake up, run, exercise, eat some food, run some more, do some therapy, eat some more food, run again. So, let's say that you're working out like 3 times a day as a pro athlete. Maybe you give yourself 1 day of rest. So you're getting 18 opportunities to work out and impact your overall health and fitness just by working out, right? Now, 18 in a week compared to 490,000. That's like the impact of you doing something that definitely improves your health by working out versus doing something that we don't necessarily associate with improving or impacting our health, which is our thoughts. So you really want to be mindful of those thoughts and ask yourself, what is the quality of my thoughts? Because they are having such a huge influence and impact on your overall well-being, for sure. The next one is words. And for this one, there's a quote I wanted to read with you. It goes, "Be mindful when it comes to your words. A string of some that don't mean much to you may stick with someone else for a lifetime." And that stuck with me. That quote comes from Rachel Wolchin, Wolchin. And I could think back in my life at people who've said something to me that I will never, ever forget. And some of those things I'll never forget are loving and positive and empowering. But for me, more of them are definitely hurtful. Or they were totally innocuous and I took them and interpreted them as hurtful. Like I had one girl in middle school tell me I had skinny ankles. She was just pointing out the fact that she felt I had skinny ankles. I took that as, I am not a man, that I am not strong enough, I'm not big enough, that there's something wrong with me. And it's so fascinating how those words continue to ring in my mind all these years later. And so our words are so important. And if we are taking a look at the quality of our words, oftentimes the words that we're sharing with other people are indicative of how we feel about ourselves. They truly, truly are. And when I'm thinking about words, I'm also thinking about the book, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And one of the 4 agreements is be impeccable with your word. That's all about speaking with integrity. It's all about saying only what you truly mean. Not coming from a place of emotion and saying words that you're going to regret, but saying only what you really mean. And avoiding using words to speak against another person, to speak down on another person. And in the book, he talks about using the power of your words in the direction of truth and love. And so it's so important that we're taking stock of our words and our word choice and what we say to other people, as well as the words that we're using on ourselves.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
So the next one on Lewis's list is food. And food, I mean, come on, that's one that we're all aware that our life is impacted by our food choices, because we're all aware that our bodies and our health are impacted by our food choices. And I really like to think that, you know what, you are what you eat, literally. Like literally. You know, the food that you put into your body, that's your fuel, right? Like that's the gas in your tank. And if you know me, I'm big on using tanks and deposits as metaphors. I mean, that's what we just did in the Trust Challenge. And so when I think of food, it's like such a clear way, like anybody can understand that food is you filling your tank up. So you got to ask yourself, like, what are you putting in your tank? When you're putting garbage in your tank, when you're putting garbage in your body, it's like putting crappy gas in your car. You know, like putting in that dirty gas in your car. Maybe it's been diluted. It has all sorts of weird pollutants and elements in there. And you know what? Your car might run, but you're probably going to notice that it sounds a bit weird, or it vibrates a little bit, or it sputters here and there. And then eventually you're going to have to take it to the shop because that engine's going to break down. And that's what we do. Like we put garbage fuel into our bodies. And we do so because, you know, we enjoy the taste. It tastes sweet, or it tastes salty, or we like, you know, whatever it is, whatever thing that we convince ourselves. And a lot of times it has to do with whatever emotions we're going through at the time. I know for me, like it blew my mind. Like I'm a slim guy, and so I never thought that I would be an emotional eater, but I sure as hell am an emotional eater. And it was by doing some intermittent fasting that I discovered that about myself. So I love that Lewis Howes includes food in here, because we can really take stock of how we feel about ourselves by looking at the food that we fuel our bodies with every day. The next thing on his list, you know, there's 8 things on the list. So the 4th one is sleep. Sleep. And we all know the studies. We've all heard the studies that researchers and scientists say that we need 7 to 8 hours every night. That's optimal. That's what you should be gunning for. But how many of us actually hear people talking about, ooh, I got 8 hours of sleep last night? No, it's like it's way more common to hear people say that they're neglecting their sleep than getting enough sleep. And you know, adequate sleep has so many benefits. Just go on Google and search the benefits of sleep. Like sleep helps keep your heart healthy. And this is the result of a Google search that I did. Sleep can help protect against some cancers. Sleep can help reduce stress, which we all know. If you're feeling depressed, they can help you there as well. And sleep is where the body has time to heal and repair itself. That's something that I learned just by playing sports my whole life, that your body heals and repairs while you're resting. Plus, it just feels freaking amazing to get a good night's sleep. But it's so easy to write off sleep as something we don't need, as something that you'll try to catch up on later. That doesn't really exist, the idea that you will catch up on sleep. No, you're always going to be running at slightly less than if you're constantly neglecting sleep again and again. And you know what? A lot of people like to wear the badge of, I only slept 4 hours last night. Like, I probably hear something about a person's nightly sleep once a week. And it's typically, I haven't slept enough. You know what I think when people tell me that? Come on. Why are you bragging that you got no sleep? There's nothing that, unless you've been up all night, like, I don't know, like I'm an entrepreneur, right? So sometimes I will forego sleep to create something. And I'm pouring my energy into something that I'm gonna be able to put out into the world and connect with other people. So like if you're pouring yourself into stuff like that and you're neglecting your sleep, great. But still, there has to be a moment, like a time frame on that. You can't do that all the time, because it doesn't matter what you're ultimately doing. If you're not sleeping enough, it's going to impact your quality of life. Guaranteed. The next area that you can use to assess your overall quality of life is your fitness. You know, we all experience this world through our body. We do. Each one of us, through our eyes, through our senses, through our bodies themselves, we experience the world. So the world doesn't exist as it is. We experience it as we are, right? That's why you can have two people who are hanging out in the same exact location, both having two very different experiences of it. When I was in college, I went on a cruise with a bunch of my buddies. I was in a funky place, and I didn't experience that cruise as a lot of fun, but guess what? They certainly did. So our fitness, like that's where we really get to connect with our body. And our body honestly reveals the truth about our relationship to life. So you can ask yourself, what is your body right now telling you about your relationship to life? I've said it on this show before that the body is just like a printer, right? A printer only spits out what you tell it to. I've never had a printer go rogue on me. My printer only spits out what I command it to, and your body is the same way. So when you're paying attention to the quality of your fitness, that's you being intentional about what you want your body to print out, how you want your body to show up. You know, your fitness is about honoring this one vessel that you have in this experience of life, this 100 or so years that you have here on this earth in this experience. So don't you want to create the smoothest, healthiest, most vibrant experience as possible? Doesn't mean each one of us is going to be running marathons or, you know, having doing Ironman races and competing in CrossFit. It's just about creating the best experience for you that's possible. That's all about prioritizing yourself and proving your self-worth, quite frankly. Because it's one thing to say that you love and honor yourself. It's another thing to back that up with action. And so fitness, when you're looking at your fitness, it definitely gives you an opportunity to see your overall quality of life. The next one is purpose. I mean, come on. So much of this show ends up becoming about purpose, right? You know, purpose is why you're waking up each morning. Like, what drives you to get out of bed and do what you do every day? It's got to be a reason. Purpose gives life meaning. It guides the decisions that you make in life. It helps to influence your goals. It shapes your behavior. And purpose is unique to everyone. But not everyone has identified what their purpose is. And guess what? It goes with no surprise. If you don't have a clear idea of what your purpose is, a clear definition of your purpose, you aren't going to feel like your quality of life is as high or as great as it could be. There's a quote from Michael J. Fox that goes, "I believe purpose is something for which one is responsible. It's not just divinely assigned." And I love that. I love that he used the word responsible. You are responsible for uncovering and tapping into and activating your purpose. You know, God, source, universe might have given you a purpose, given you some gifts, you know, but you've got to tap into them. And so that means you've got to be digging in. You got to be exploring. You got to be asking yourself those questions. You got to be trying different things. You know, otherwise your purpose, you can't assume it's just going to stumble across your path. Even people in stories that you've heard where that's happened, because we've all probably heard a story where somebody seemingly just stumbled into their purpose. But that's not ever the case, because typically they're taking some sort of action. And it's in the mere fact that they're taking action, that there's movement. When there's movement, you have the opportunity to discover something. You can't discover something when you're standing still. So if you haven't yet connected with your purpose, then your quality of life is absolutely going to be impacted. You're going to feel stressed. You're going to feel stuck when that connection to purpose hasn't been made. And if it hasn't been made, it doesn't mean that it can't be made. It doesn't mean that it won't be made. So some of you are just on that journey to connecting with your purpose, and keep going. Keep going. So there's two more that Lewis Howes lists out. The seventh one is environment. Oh my goodness, I talk about environment so much. I actually just did an episode on environment, I think last month. It's called, It's Time for You to Take It's time for you to take a hard look at your environments. And when you're looking at your environments, I mean, it is the physical spaces that you place yourself in, for sure. But environment also relates to the people that you hang around. Environment is about the conversations that you participate to, or the conversations that you listen to, or that you watch. It's election season right now, and I don't know about you, but I have been spewed with so much garbage over the past few weeks from all sides. And it is just insane how much fear goes around, how much criticism, how much judgment, how much anger, how much hate. I mean, it's wild. And I am choosing not to be in those environments. I'm choosing not to go onto those news programs and watch that stuff or listen to that stuff. I choose to inform myself, but I choose to stay away from those environments which are toxic. And so you've got to be very vigilant with your environments and the environments that you choose to put yourself in, because it is a choice. It is a choice. If you have a toxic work environment and you choose to go there every single day, don't complain about it. Own that choice and recognize that, yeah, there's a consequence for me stepping into this toxic work environment. If you're in a relationship that's not serving you, guess what? You got to own that choice too, because it is a choice, because every day you're choosing it. And so we got to be so aware of our environments, because they directly connect to how we feel our overall quality of life is. If you feel your quality of life is low, chances are you're hanging out in some environments that are not serving you. The last one is kind of connected with environment a little bit. It's relationships. Relationships have a huge impact in what we feel the quality of our life is. And in psychology, we learn about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Actually, psychology was my undergrad major. That's why I'm pulling this out right now. In Maslow's hierarchy of needs, love and belonging, the need to feel love, the need to feel belonging, that comes just after our basic needs like food and water and safety. And many times we feel love and belonging from relationships, from being a part of community, from having deep, intimate relationships with like a sexual partner, or deep friendships, or relationships with our family. That's where we feel that love and that belonging. And when we have poor quality relationships, many times it has to do with our own self-image and our feelings of our own self-worth. So if you don't feel the quality of your relationships is very high, then guess what? You're not feeling like you deserve to have high quality relationships in your life. And that's an area for you to examine. That's a great area for you to look at the opportunities to make some bold moves, take some massive action, because you better believe that your relationships are impacting how you view the overall quality of your life. Absolutely, 100%. So I really, really appreciate Lewis Howes for putting this out there today, because it got me thinking, and it inspired this conversation, which I know is getting you thinking as well. Now, there's one thing, because I was reflecting on this list, like, do I feel like this is a complete list? And there's one area that he doesn't have in here that I would love to see, and that's spirituality. Spirituality. What is your relationship with Source? And what is your walk? What is your path? What is your journey to cultivating that relationship? And Source can mean whatever the heck you want it to mean. It doesn't necessarily mean religion, but that belief that you're a part of something bigger, for many, many, many people is incredibly, incredibly important, and absolutely connects with overall quality of life. And so for me, over these past however many years, I've been cultivating my relationship with Source. I've been really intentional about my spiritual walk and what that means for me. And it's interesting because at times I feel connected, at times I feel don't. I feel like I'm not connected. And that's just a really interesting experience for me. And I know that it impacts how I feel my overall quality of life is, for sure. So that's the one thing that I would add. And I'm curious what you would add as well. Lewis on his Instagram account asks for people to comment and write down what they would add to the list. And so for you all listening, I would love to hear, first of all, how do you feel about the quality of your life in these 8 areas? What comes up for you? If you are really digging in and really looking at your life in those 8 areas and you're being very honest with yourself, then yeah, some stuff might come up for you. Some feelings might come up for you. And you know what? That's a great thing. Because now that you have that awareness, you can actually do something about it. It's tough to make actions in any direction if you aren't aware of where your starting point is. It just is. And so having something so simple, like this is stupid simple, just looking at the quality of your life in these areas, thoughts, words, food, sleep, fitness, purpose, environment, relationships. Like you can just sit there at work. You can sit in your car before you jump into the office. You can be in the bathroom and you just go and you take a look at your phone and you can just look at, okay, let me think through these 8 areas and see, what is the quality of my life in these 8 areas? Just asking yourself that simple question is going to activate some new things in your life. It's going to move you in some new directions. And it can create some healing and some breakthroughs for sure. But you got to be willing to ask yourself those questions. So share with me what comes up for you when you ask yourself what the quality of your life looks like in these 8 areas. I would love to know. I would love to know where your biggest area of opportunity is. You know, is something that I can talk about on the podcast, right? If a bunch of you tell me fitness is my biggest area of opportunity, okay, cool. Then we'll do a show about fitness. We might do a series about fitness. Maybe I'll make a product about fitness, whatever. But let me know. Connect with me. You can hit me up on Instagram, Matthew_Bivens. That's my Instagram tag. And since this post I found on Instagram, that's all that I'll share to connect with me today. Matthew_Bivens on Instagram. And go and check out and follow Lewis Howes as well. He's at Lewis Howes, LEWISHOWES. And tell him that Matthew Bivens from the Having It All podcast sent you. And hey, Lewis, if you're listening, or if Lewis's people are listening, I'd love to have a conversation with you. That'd be awesome. So we can link up and make some magic happen, because I know we'd be able to have some fiery conversation for sure on some abundant, loving life topics. That'd be amazing. So everybody, you all are beautiful. I appreciate you. You allow me to experience my purpose in a really fun way whenever I get a chance to jump on the mic and share these messages with you. Whenever I get a chance to connect with you in email or Instagram. And whenever I get a chance to see you in person or talk to you on the phone. There's all these beautiful opportunities that I get to live my purpose. And I'm so grateful to you for making that possible. I really, really am. And gratitude. That's the name of the game too. I should have a whole other podcast dedicated to gratitude, because boy, when you are grateful, when you rep gratitude, everything else falls into place. All right. Now this is where I start to ramble. So that means I need to wrap this thing up. I love you all. My name is Matthew Bivens. Here is to you having it all. Quick note about the Having It All podcast. I am not a doctor nor a licensed therapist. I'm a guy with a story and a passion for conscious conversation. My thoughts, opinions, and beliefs are my own. So please consult with your doctor or healthcare provider regarding any questions or issues you have related to your personal, physical, or mental health.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from, with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.